your son is a very successful actor and very, very successful director. Do you ever talk to him about appearing in his films?
No, no. He would ask me if he had a part for me. We actually did appear once. I did a series on television called Good Heavens, where I played an angel who gave people who did good deeds one wish, and Robbie and I played together, and we enjoyed that. We never found another thing to do.
I was looking through the book before I read it. Which book did you enjoy doing more, the scary book or the Just Desserts book?
Oh, Just Desserts is really something that it really tickles me. It's a small book, a thin book, and I love the fact that in the book the author himself, Nat Nolan, talks to himself, as I do, by the way. I recommend that highly.
Oh, I think it's very healthy.
Yeah, very healthy. Talk to yourself, ask yourself questions. If you're fairly intelligent, you'll make it a fairly intelligent answer. But I love this fact that this author, I had just finished writing something, and the author says, I can't write another novel. I haven't got time, and I'm lazy. And he said, what's smaller than a novel? He said, well, a novella, that's 100. He said, yeah, that's still 100 pages. What? Is there anything smaller than a novella? And then he says, well, our friend, mother, Paulie's mother, used to call him Paulula, the Jewish diminutive for Paul. So he calls the book a novella, and hoping it's a pithy novel.
That's very funny.
But I like the novel tickled me because it's a non-believer who finds that there is, and my theory is that there is a God, but not the God we most of us talk about. My God is a God that man. My theory is that man invented God because he needed it. God didn't make man. Man invented God. And it says all writers in the history of time, from the guy who wrote the Bible, who I said was a hack writer 5,000 years ago, who didn't have as much knowledge about what the world was about as we do today. I said a hack writer today knows that electricity is not a bolt of lightning that God threw down on, a bolt of lightning thrown from the skies by God. No, I said, it's an electrical storm. I said, so the Bible was written by somebody who got an idea. Now, all writers do this. When they get a great idea or something comes to them, they do say, where the heck did that come from? And they said, can't be from my own head. And the idea is that, my thought is that all good ideas come from the man himself. Man invented God because he needed. He could say, Moses couldn't say, hey, listen to me, take these things seriously. I thought of these. I think synchronicity. There must have been a synchronous event on the mountain when he was up there thinking these good thoughts, and very possibly a bolt of lightning hit, and he says, "Oops!" So somebody's trying to tell me something. And when he came down, he didn't say to the people, "Here's some ideas I had. Here's some ideas that came from God." More likely, they'd believe him if it came from a source bigger than him. And that's my theory, that all good ideas come from the God within man.
There's a line from the play Inherit the Wind, where the H.L. Mencken character, who his name in the play is Hornbeck, and in it he says, God created man in his own image, and man being a gentleman returned the favor.
Yeah. I like that. I forgot that. But, I wrote a book a little while ago called How Paul Robeson Saved My Life, and other mostly happy stories. On the last page of the book, I wrote 15 things I know about God that nobody else knows. And I write, among other things, he's allergic to shellfish. He likes
that explains a lot.
He loves to watch women walk by who have beautiful legs, and he loves Fred Astaire. He loves to hear a tenor hit a high C, and all of the. And the last thing he says there, he felt that there are too many commandments. You only need one. You don't need.
One of the things.
The commandment you need is "Thou shalt not hurt anybody," and that covers everything. If you hurt somebody, you're committing wars. You're committing adultery. So, and he says, "How do I know all these things?" And he says, "Well, I was made in the image of God, and God must, like himself, must be allergic to shellfish."
One of the things you're most famous for is for being a great straight man. In your opinion, working with Mel Brooks and Sid Caesar, and is it harder to be a straight man than it is to be the punchline guy?
More I don't discipline? Know. You know, it's somebody just 2 or 3 days ago, somebody told me something I did not know. And they said, you know, that every straight man in the history of theater, going from Weber and Fields to there was a couple, mentioned all the straight men. He says most of the straight men in vaudeville got most of the money. They were the ones who were the leader. He says the straight man in those days had different comedians working for them. They hired different comedians and paid them. The straight man was the writer, the one who came up with the ideas, and I didn't think of it that way, because when I ask Mel questions, I ask questions of answers I have no answers for, but I want to know what they are. And luckily, my questions were asked of a genius, funny man, and I said, a great comic mind in panic when he doesn't know what the answer is. We'll come up with something. And Mel never disappointed me. For 10 years, I asked him questions, starting in the old Show of Shows office. The genesis was rather funny. I had seen a program called We the People Speak, in which Dan Seymour, who was then the host, said, they recreated the news. And I came in one day and I said, hey, I got a great idea for a sketch on the Show of Shows. I said, I heard a man on the air, and We the People Speak, said, I heard Stalin say going to blow up the world Thursday. You know, some crazy thing like that. And I said, that's a good thing to comment on, do a sketch about. And nobody thought it was good enough to bother with. So I turned to Mel and I said, here's a man who was actually at the scene of the crucifixion 2,000 years ago. Isn't that true, sir? And Mel said, oh, boy. And from that old boy came, you knew the man? Oh, yes. Two
of the greatest comedy albums of all time. I don't even know where to begin to thank you. I am so
Hey, you know how to
flattered
thank me? You come to Washington. The 2,000-year-old man is being installed into the Library of Congress.
That's my hometown.
November.
When is it going to be?
Yes.
When will that be?
This November, November 26th, I think.
I'm going to make an effort to be there. That's my hometown. I will do everything I can. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it greatly.
Now, you go back to sleep, too. That's what I'm going to do.
No, I've got to go back to work.
I know, Sam. You got to keep talking.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you.
Be well. Carl Reiner, author of Tell Me Another Scary Story, but Not Too Scary, and Just Desserts. A legend, truly a legend in comedy and writing and performing.